Let's dive into a feeling that is, well, just about as human as it gets, that sharp sting of rejection. I mean, why does a simple no, or even just silence, feel so absolutely crushing? We're about to unpack the fascinating science behind why rejection hurts so much. Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever had that feeling? You know the one. You send a text, you see those two little check marks, that little word read, and then crickets. If that silence feels less like an inconvenience and more like a physical punch to the gut, you are not alone. And I promise you, you're not going crazy. I mean, it's such a tiny, everyday thing, right? You fire off a message, you see they've opened it, but then the seconds start to feel like minutes. The minutes feel like hours. And that empty space where a reply should be starts to feel really heavy. So, what is actually going on inside your head at that moment? It's not a calm, logical thought process, is it? No way. It's more like a fire alarm from a really ancient part of your brain that just starts screaming, danger, danger. It feels totally blown out of proportion, but that panic, it's undeniably real. So, how in the world do we get from a very modern sting, like an ignored text, to this ancient, deep-seated survival alarm? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. It all comes down to the part of our brain that's basically still living in the Stone Age. You know, psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called rejection sensitivity. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's this tendency to be on high alert for rejection, to see it everywhere, and then to react to it, well, intensely. Does that sound at all familiar? And here's the real kicker. The part of your brain that's having a full-on meltdown, it has absolutely no idea what a text message is. It doesn't get digital communication. It's not processing being left on read. It's processing a very old signal from our evolutionary past that means something far more terrifying. This is the key right here. For thousands and thousands of years, we survived in small, interdependent tribes. And in that world, being part of the group wasn't just a nice to have. It was literally everything. Getting rejected by the tribe wasn't just emotionally painful. It was a death sentence. Just think about what that would have actually meant. If you were cast out, you instantly lost the protection of the group. No one to watch your back. You had no access to shared food or resources. You were completely alone, totally vulnerable to predators. Your chances of survival were next to zero. So this fear is so fundamental to our survival that our brains came up with a pretty shocking way to make sure we paid attention. It turns out the link between social pain and physical pain isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's actual neurological fact. So how do we know this? Well, neuroscientists did this really clever study. They put people inside an fMRI machine, the big brain scanner, and had them play a simple online ball tossing game with two other players. Except those other players were actually just a computer program designed to suddenly and completely start ignoring the real person. And the results were just mind-blowing. The brain scan showed that being excluded from this silly little game, it lit up the exact same parts of the brain that fire up when you experience physical pain. We're talking about the same areas that register a broken bone or a burn. Your brain literally treats a broken heart like it's a broken leg. What we're all dealing with then is basically an evolutionary hijack. We've got this incredibly powerful ancient alarm system that was designed for a very specific life-threatening danger, but now it's getting set off by things that are, not life-threatening at all. Let's just put this side by side, okay? The ancient trigger, being rejected by your tribe. The consequence, starvation, predators. The result, almost certain death. Now, the modern trigger, an unanswered text message. The consequence, hurt feelings, maybe some anxiety. The result, definitely, absolutely not death. But the alarm bell clanging in your head, it's the exact same one. So here's maybe the simplest way to picture it. Your survival brain is a caveman, a highly effective, well-meaning caveman. And we've just handed him a smartphone. He's doing his best to navigate Instagram, Tinder, and group chats, but he's misinterpreting every unanswered message as a saber-toothed tiger rustling in the bushes. Okay, so that might sound a little bleak, but here's the really empowering part. Just understanding this mismatch is the first step to getting a handle on it. Once you realize you're not actually in danger, you can start to talk that ancient alarm system down. You can learn how to tame the tiger. So here's a super practical 3-step tool you can use next time you feel that sting.
First, just acknowledge the feeling. Don't fight it or judge it. That pain is real. Step 2, identify it for what it is. Just label it. Say to yourself, oh, okay, this is that ancient survival alarm going off. And finally, the most important part, reassure your brain. Literally say out loud or in your head, hey, thank you for the warning. I appreciate you looking out for me, but I am safe right now.
If you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. You are not broken. You're not too sensitive. You are just profoundly, deeply human. This intense reaction isn't a bug, it's an ancient feature. It's hardwired proof that we are all built for connection. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. We always see this sensitivity as a flaw, right? A weakness? But what if we looked at it differently? What if this deep, visceral need to belong, this ancient alarm that goes off when we feel disconnected, what if it's actually our oldest superpower? Maybe it's the very thing that pushed us to build societies, to cooperate, and to create this amazing world in the first place.